one more thing on, so, at the reception, while it might be that, and since it's a joining day, the company might go ahead and have a sign language interpreter. But when it comes to the team, not everyone would know. So are there any apps that they can perhaps use when the teams have to interact with them, because not everyone will be conversant of sign language, at least from day one. So is there something like that we can ask the teams or the managers beforehand to, we have someone from the dev community joining your team, and you can perhaps use this app. Is there something like that?
There are many apps on ASL, American Sign Language. Indian Sign Language, also what happens is, just like our Hindi varies from north to south, there are some signs that vary as well. So there is no like perfect app, but then ISLRTC, which is the ISL where all the words are combined, they do have a channel where they keep posting. It's a repository of all the words. So whenever I think you have any doubt, you could just check ISLRTC and you would have a lot of words that you need. So say, for example, yesterday I was doing this sign language song, and then suddenly I asked my colleague itself, like, what is the sign for status? And then he said there is no sign for status. But then I had to explain the meaning, saying status, meaning like, this in the society. But then you will have to first explain a dev. So apps are not many, but then a repository of words are there in ISLRTC.
Okay.
Interim, Shatabdi, what options are available is on-demand sign language support, interpreter support that you can schedule for and access. That is one that is available.
Right.
Second, there is a lot of innovations are happening in the deaf community part of it. I'm aware of, I don't recall the name of the organization. I can probably post it in the group later. It's based out of Pune. They have devised a smartwatch, and which has a gloves-like attachment, which is used by the deaf person. And when he signs in that language, it translates into speech. And that speech is given to the person on the others that it does. Wow. And so when I respond, it translates that into text for him, the written form of it, and does it. So there are a lot of innovations that's happening. I think it's more than anything, it's just the empathy and the willingness to walk that extra step, do that extra line of work is very important to make them feel welcome on the first floor. Krishna, what would be your requirements at a work environment?
Yeah, maybe accessible restroom, right? So where I can go on my own independently, and the desk should be at the proper height so that I can work. Also, some companies also have adjustable desks, right, where we can increase or decrease the height, so we can have those.
Yes.
Yeah. So mainly, since I'm on a wheelchair, making sure that all the arrangements are in a reachable height. Yeah.
Absolutely. Then your one-handed keyboard, for those of us who have restrictive dexterity, that one, ergonomic mouse, desk chairs, what is needed, dictation software for me, because I'm not going to see out a Braille keyboard I would need. But then if softwares like NVDA, JAWS that is installed, is very critical for me to from a workspace environment, what are the things that I need. It's very, very important.
Also, in case of Krishna, he might need some additional time, so some reasonable accommodations around time, like I might take 10 minutes for having my breakfast or lunch. He might take additional 10 minutes, so considering that as well. Parita has a question.
Hi, so the question is not too much on the infrastructure, but more on the team building part. So, I think, Pratna, you mentioned like how there is, this regional and cultural diversity. And one thing that, sometimes people just start shifting, like when we are in the meeting with me and I use the app, so I'm following English. And people somehow are very comfortable, from Bombay to speak in Hindi. Or, from Delhi, and they just start speaking in Hindi, and the meeting just loses like context for me, because some lines I understand and some lines I don't. And it's very awkward to repeat all the time that can we please stick to English and things like that. Is there any way that we can tell this to people without sounding like needing and asking for accommodations all the time?
Parita, I don't think it is an accommodation. I think it's basic civic sense that when there is a person especially in a corporate environments that we work in, English is the language for communication and we need to stick to it. So no, whether I also face the same thing. Though I understand Hindi perfectly well onto that, I do not hesitate from saying, can we please stick to English? Can we please speak in English? Or what was that in English, right? And we have to, every time we do that, they, trust me, 2, 3, third time, fourth time, they will get it and they will stick to that language.
So there is something called evacuation chair, so which will be used on the stairs. So people who are trained, right? Facility staff who are trained can take people with disabilities or people who are aged or pregnant women, right? So they can have them on the evacuation chair and they can take the chair on the stairs. That is the and again as per the law, like every floor should have one evacuation chair.